India, the only land where the smallest of everyday acts are pervaded with spiritual ethos. This is a land and culture which has for thousands of years nurtured yogis, siddhas and realized beings. These beings explored life in depth, looked at all aspects of human well-being and consciously structured the culture so that even the simplest act became a spiritual one. Spirituality has stayed alive and flourished for so many centuries in India because these beings created spaces and temples where they invested their knowing. Kailash is one such place, which is a powerhouse of energy. The first being to store his knowing in an energy form here was the Adi Yogi Shiva himself. Though they are thronged by worshippers, the ancient temples were originally built not as places of worship, but as powerful energy centers which allowed people to transform themselves in a very deep way. A visit to the temple in the morning allowed one to go about his daily work with a certain sense of balance and depth. There was a deep and exact science of temple building. The temples in India were created according to the instructions laid out in the Agama Shastras. Each Jyotirlinga temple had a specific function. If you want health, you go to a certain temple. If you want material well-being, you go to another. Each temple was created to address a different aspect of life. The existing lingas in these temples have been consecrated for one or two particular chakras, which benefit people accordingly. But many enlightened beings down the ages dreamed of a temple that held a linga with all 7 chakras fully energized, a Dhyanalinga temple. Of all the temples, this is the most complex to create, and so difficult is the task that it never happened. The closest attempt to consecrate such a Dhyanalinga took place almost 1,000 years ago in Bhojpur in Madhya Pradesh. But the consecration process could not be completed. There is now only one place where a Dhyanalinga stands, the only one to be fully consecrated in over 2,000 years. The Veliangiri mountains are known as the Kailash of the south, because they have been the abode of countless siddhas, seers and sages since time immemorial. Shiva himself is said to have spent time in these mountains. It is at the foothills of the Veliangiri mountains that Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev established the Dhyanalinga. It took him 3 lifetimes of intense sadhana to achieve this. The consecration of Dhyanalinga involved an intense process of prana pratishtha which spanned over 3 years.
Dhyanalinga is the highest manifestation that you can create. If energy becomes more intense than that, there can be no form to it. It'll become formless once again. So Dhyanalinga is that dimension where Energy is at its peak form and it is manifested with all the 7 chakras as life happens on this planet with 7 basic qualities, 7 different dimensions within yourself. Or in other words, you can say, it is the highest form of a being that can exist on this planet. Or if you want to look at it in traditional terms, you can say, it is the subtle body of Shiva himself.
Dhyanalinga, the highest possible manifestation of the divine. The basic nature of the Dhyanalinga is primordial, formless divine energy, but an outer expression of the exuberance of life in all its manifestations are expressed through the 7 chakras. Anyone who comes into the sphere of Dhyanalinga cannot escape the sowing of the spiritual seed of liberation. This is my Guru's dream and grace. May you know the bliss of the divine. Shambho.